Do you recall the news footage? Your president and governors standing in the barren fields of Texas and Georgia. They held gleaming golden shovels, popping champagne in front of banners emblazoned with Hyundai and Samsung logos. Manufacturing is back. We did it. Our children will dream in factories again. They screamed with veins bulging in their necks, and you cheered in front of your TVs, waving the stars and stripes. You truly believed that the jobs stolen by Asia had finally returned home. But that champagne was not a toast to victory. It was a libation poured over your economic grave. Have you ever seen the back of the contract hidden behind that flashy groundbreaking ceremony? The US government twisted the arms of Korean companies, lured them with the bait of subsidies, and threatened them with the whip of tariffs to forcibly capture these factories. This is not a triumph of the free market. It is a massive trap orchestrated by the state. You are drinking the Kool-Aid thinking, if the factory comes, I'll get a job and get rich. How incredibly naive. Why did Korean companies resist so hard before reluctantly moving to the US? Because they knew. They knew that the moment they built a factory on American soil, their boasted super gap efficiency would be shattered. You view this factory as a gift, but we call it Trojan Horse 2.0. When you crack open the belly of this wooden horse, what will pour out? Jobs for thousands of blue-collar workers? Generous pensions and health insurance? No. What emerges from within are monsters with cold, metallic skin. Korean companies are not idiots. They have crunched the numbers. American labor is expensive. Unions are powerful. Vacations are long. Under these conditions, there is only one way to survive: delete the human. The factory you welcomed with cheers is actually an unmanned fortress built to render you permanently unemployed. On the day the factory doors open, you will stand in line with your resume, but the interviewers will not look at you. They will be smiling at the thousands of robots being unloaded from trucks. Your place is not on the assembly line inside, but at the unemployment benefits office outside. Now it is time to face reality. Meet Atlas. This is the latest humanoid robot from Boston Dynamics, owned by Hyundai Motor Group. In the past, it looked like a toy dancing for YouTube views, but it has evolved into the perfect worker that tightens bolts and carries heavy batteries on the factory floor. Let's pull out the calculator. The target mass production price for Atlas is between $20,000 and $30,000. The crucial point is that this is not an annual salary. It is a one-time purchase cost. Buy it once and it works for 5 years. On the other hand, what is the average annual cost of a UAW member? Including benefits, it exceeds $80,000 to $100,000 per year. If you amortize the $20,000 cost of Atlas over 5 years, the monthly cost is merely $330. You, however, demand $7,000 a month. Furthermore, Atlas does not sleep, does not eat, does not need bathroom breaks, and does not take smoke breaks. Shall we make the comparison even more brutal? A human gets tired after working 8 hours. To run a 24-hour shift, you need 3 people. That means to maintain one position, the company must spend $300,000 annually. But Atlas? Except for charging time, it holds that spot alone. 1 robot versus 3 humans. That's a 15-fold difference. If you were the CEO, who would you hire? Patriotism? Loyalty? Those sentiments don't make it past the door of the shareholders' meeting. Capitalism is cold-blooded. The one that is cheaper, faster, and more obedient wins. You used to comfort yourselves saying, machines can't replace the touch of a skilled craftsman. But Hyundai's AI learns your manual skills in 0.1 seconds. Your 30 years of experience is now nothing more than a file downloaded in a single data update for Atlas. Let's be generous and assume they don't use robots. Even then, there is no place for you. Why? Because there are no engineers to run the factory. A Korean factory is not a simple assembly line. It is an advanced laboratory, controlling tens of thousands of sensors and AI algorithms. But what are American college students doing? They fled from difficult engineering majors to play with money in finance or play with words in law. Can you, who struggle with basic calculus, calculate semiconductor yields or correct the calibration errors of a robotic arm? In the end, Hyundai and Samsung will fly in hundreds of engineers from Korea on visas. The only jobs left for you are mopping the factory floor or delivering sandwiches to the Korean engineers. Because you are tech illiterate, you are not even qualified to command the robots. Fine, let's assume everything went your way. Let's scrap all the robots and hire American workers for every single spot. We pay them $100,000 a year, give them a 4-day work week as the union demands, and generous vacations. Now, shall we hit the calculator again? Component prices don't lie. An electric vehicle that cost $30,000 to build in Korea now has a production cost of $60,000 after passing through American high-cost, low-efficient hands. Add corporate margins and logistics, the consumer price skyrockets past $100,000. Will you buy that car out of patriotism? Will you pay triple the price for a car with the exact same performance just because it saved American jobs? No, you will absolutely not. You will look at that price tag, curse it as insane, and go back to searching for cheap Chinese or Mexican imports. This is the paradox of Made in America. America has the powerful UAW. You strike for higher wages and shut down factories. In the past, this was a potent weapon to pressure corporations. But now, it is equivalent to pressing a panic button. While you shout and hold picket signs, Korean executives are quietly smiling in their offices. Why? Because the longer your strike lasts, the more perfect the justification for the deployment of Atlas becomes. Look, humans are unpredictable and risky. Robots are the answer. Shareholders will nod in agreement, and the budget for robot deployment will be approved instantly. During the time you halt the assembly line, Atlas is tirelessly accumulating learning data, finalizing preparations to replace you. Your resistance does not delay the robot era. It slams on the accelerator. That picket sign in your hand is not a bill of rights. It is your own termination notice. Fine, let's say you lost in the factory. Did you think, I'll move to the service sector where I can use my brain? The moment you run to Starbucks, McDonald's, or an Amazon fulfillment center with your resume, you will encounter a familiar face waiting for you. The very same robots from Korean companies that kicked you out of the factory are now brewing coffee, flipping burgers, and carrying delivery boxes. Baemin, Hyundai Robotics, Korea has already finished the experiment of unmanned services. They simply ported the factory technology to restaurants and streets. You might say, a robot can't replace a human smile. But business owners think differently. Robots don't demand tips, don't spit in customers' food, and don't call in sick. There is nowhere left to run. Manufacturing has fallen, and the service sector is under siege. So, what role is left for you? As a producer, you are obsolete. You are now only valuable as a consumer. The state will collect a robot tax to hand you a pittance. We call this universal basic income, but in reality, it is closer to pet allowance. Society will split into two classes: the owners who monopolize wealth by owning robots and AI, and the useless class who have nothing to do but watch Netflix all day, waiting for state rations. Which side are you on? Sadly, you are not the owner. You have become the state's pet, living off the wealth generated by robots. You won't starve, but you will have no dignity. The reason you wake up in the morning has vanished. This is the true face of the utopia brought by robots. This is not an economic issue. It is an issue of evolution. It takes you 4 years to learn a skill. AI learns it in 4 seconds.
You need to sleep after 8 hours. Robots remain awake forever. Biologically, you are now an obsolete model. Korean companies didn't just build factories. They released a new species onto the American continent. This species does not tire, does not age, and does not die. The probability of you, a Homo sapien, winning against them is 0%. Do not teach your children, work hard and you will succeed. That is a lie. Instead, teach them to choose. Become the master of the robot or become the rag that wipes the robot. That is the cruel but singular truth. Take a deep breath. What is that feeling in your chest right now? Anger? Fear? Or an overwhelming sense of helplessness? It's okay. Do not deny those unpleasant emotions.
Ironically, that very trembling you feel is the single most powerful proof that you are distinct from Atlas. Machines do not fear termination, they do not worry about the future, and they do not question their reason for existence. Only a human is capable of despair. Robots are fast at finding the answer, but they do not know how to ask the question. They can sprint at light speed on a given track, but they cannot step off the track to blaze a new trail. Why? Because they lack deficiency. All of humanity's greatest inventions and innovations were born from scarcity, discomfort, and desperation. Your inefficient pain has in fact always been the source of creation. So, do not cower. Do not try to compete with Atlas on speed. Instead, wield the weapons that machines cannot compute: romance, challenge, and recklessness. The tool may be perfect, but deciding where to go with that tool remains the task of the imperfect you. Wake up! You are not a replaceable component. You are the only architect of this world.
Flawless. Uptime. Green. Compliance. Checksum. Verified. Harbor. Autonomous. No variance. Obsolete. Off-boarded. Archived. Overwritten. Exported.